What's good? What's good, y'all? This your boy Mel back with another video. In this video, we're going to be explaining the main charting platform that you'll do all your back testing, all your markups, pretty much your outlook, and like all your technical analysis will more than likely be on this platform. The platform is called Tradingview. It's a free cloud app that's also awesome because whatever you mark up here on your computer, your laptop, or tablet or whatever else you're using over there to mark up your charts, it's going to appear on your phone. And that's one of the biggest things I like about it. So what you'll do is you'll go to tradingview.com, right? Go to tradingview.com. And once you go there, more than likely, like you log out, you can create a login. Let's see. You can create a login, right? It'll look like this more than likely when you show up to the page. You can create a login. And once you do, you can go in, join for free, right? Let me get this thing a chance to load up. Okay. All right, cool. So when you do a sign up, literally just enter your name, the email, and the passwords you want, and obviously click to agree to their terms of conditions and privacy and cookie policy, obviously. And check this to make sure you're not a robot. And literally, it's as simple as that, guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm pretty much just going to log back in. As you can see, I already created a username and password, right? It's all about being efficient, guys. And when you go into your chart, right, give it a second to load up. All right, as we're going to our charts, this is a free version. The only down part about a free version is that advertisements may pop up every now and then, so you may have to close out of them while you're in the middle of charting up, or you have to, hide the advertisement or whatever. It's something that can get a little annoying after a while, especially when you deep into your analysis and you coming up with something you don't want anything clouding your judgment. I only see it on the desktop. I don't really see advertisements on the phone. Keep that in mind, right? All right, so we're going to go through a quick overview of Tradingview, what to use, what we're going to be using, the main tools we're going to be using. I would like for you guys to set up your charts how I have mine, but I will also give you guys some insight on why you can set your charts up to however you feel like makes you feel good on the charts, right? So more than likely, when you start off on the chart, all I did was when you want to change your chart or your background or your layout. See how I got a dark background layout on here? On yours, it's probably white when you first start off. Your screen is white. All of this stuff is white. You'll just right click on your screen, go to settings. And on the settings tab, whenever it pops up, right, you have the style. And on your style is showing you what size candles these are, right? As you can see, kind of like in my background here, here's the advertisement I was talking about. These are the annoying things that I was talking about. Let's just get that off of here. All right, so my bullish candles or buyer candles are blue, and my seller candles or bearish candles are red. If you want to be able to change that, change it to whatever colors you like. Just make sure it looks clean and it doesn't cloud your judgment. You want to like what you're looking at, but you also want to be, able to understand what you're looking at and not really be so thrown off by, mismatched colors. You want to feel good when you look at your chart. So typically, if you wanted to change your background color, like this outside, the vertical axis and horizontal axis, you can change those to let's go to style. Okay, yeah, it's definitely background. So on a background, you literally can do a light background. You can do a dark background. If you like a black chart, just know that when you use a black chart, you're going to have to use, somewhat of brighter colors to be able to see your horizontal lines, your levels of support and resistance. So there's nothing wrong with a black chart, your random lines, to be able to recognize patterns and things like that. Need to be black as well. I like to do all black color if I'm able to go solid black, so you pretty much can see that. But obviously we don't want our scales. There's no numbers on the side, right? We want our scales, our colors to be white. Scale lines, you can make that white as well. We can see what we're looking at, and you can make your crosshair, yellow if you like. Okay. But typically what I like to do is I like having kind of a neutral, kind of closer to white, but not all the way white. I like to use this 1, 2, 3, 4. I like using this fourth one. So I'll make that the same color on all 3. And then on my scales, I like making those black. Boom. So your watermark is literally just the background sign, right? So if you want to be able to see what type of pair you're on, how you're able to make it visible is you just darken this up. And I'll move this down so you can see that, right? XAU, USD. I don't really like seeing that in the middle of the screen. It's like kind of throw me off a little bit. So you can leave it a little lighter if you want to see a little bit of it. Let's see what this looks like. Yeah, that's not bad, right? So leave it there. The important thing is your candles. So typically on your standard chart, you probably got green, 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 red, red, red. I make my candles somewhat of a lighter color, but I like my background or my border. I like the border of my candles, right? You guys see how, there you go. Here's an example. The background, the outline of my candle is black. I like that for both of them. Rather, I make it a lighter color or a darker color. It doesn't matter to me. I typically like red and blue. It's just easier on my eyes to be able to see, and I leave my wicks black as well. If you got a bunch of things on your chart, like time zones, and you see different flags and stuff on there, what you can do is you can go here and you could unclick the show economic events on your chart. So you can get rid of those, right? Everything else you pretty much can leave standard. This is pretty much the official highs and low values. I don't really care too much about that. You don't really got to use too much of this stuff over here. If you want the simple description on there, this is how you get rid of it. As you see that up here in the top left-hand corner. If you want your symbol to show when it's up there, or if you don't, doesn't really matter, right? So here's something you can do, right? So up here will be the chart that you will be looking at that's currently on here, right? And if you want to go see a different chart, you just go up to this left-hand corner and you type that in. AUD USD, right? If you type that in, doesn't really matter which one of these ones you use. Typically, when you just type it in here randomly, it's going to go with this first one, FXCM. More than likely, you can use an OANDA one if you have an OANDA broker. But if you're using a broker that I recommended to you, Hugo's Way, I found that FXCM and OANDA are pretty much tick for tick with as far as pip movement. So when the chart on here moves, that pretty much either is going to move a little earlier or it may be somewhat of a little delay between the reading on this chart and your current broker. But it doesn't really make a difference, man. It's pretty much tick for tick right there, right? So even though these aren't your brokers that you're going to be using to enter your trades, these are the charts that you're going to be using to analyze your trades, okay? To be able to do your technical analysis. We'll leave this chart here on, let's go back to gold, XAU USD. All right. So to hide your indicators or anything like that, you got this visibility button where you can move them all to just have a clean chart. If you want to hide all of the indicators in general, you just press this little plus sign. This right here is your crosshair. This is pretty much what you'll be able to use to be able to spot out. I actually like seeing mine. Give me a second to make my crosshair black. Press OK. All right, I like this better, right? So typically what I like to do to get my chart set up, guys, is I like to go favorite which ones I know I'm going to use. The ones that I favorite, if you want to favorite something, it's going to go here to this line, right? It's going to go here, right? This is my favorite trim, little bar that I use, these type of indicators or these type of markup tools the most when I'm on TradingView. So you can star the ones that you like to use the most and add them to there, and you can customize it. You can move it however you want. It's all about being comfortable, guys. That's at the end of the day. So your random lines, you'll end up drawing like little patterns. This is what I use to draw, patterns to be able to see what type of pattern or what type of formation could I be forming. Is it a descending triangle, descending wedge, falling wedge? What do I have going on here, right? You want to be able to use the trend line tool to be able to draw your trend lines and be able to draw your market formations, right? Typically, like, let's just say the best way to be able to see a chart anyway, let's just say you're on a higher time frame, right? And the best way to be able to see the actual trend of the chart is to zoom out. And you do that by pressing this zoom out button, right? But if you want to be able to zoom in on current price action, then you see it takes you there. If you want to just go ahead and readjust it to where it fits the screen, you can press this re button right here, this redo button. If you want to be able to move your chart around, like while this auto button is clicked, you can only move your chart sideways. You cannot move it up, down, around, all the way to the left, right? If you have a mouse, you can compress your screen like this to zoom out, right? But again, you can only move it left or right. When you unclick this auto button, now I can move my chart up, down, round, and around. So if your chart is off the screen and you can't see nothing, it's two ways to get it back. You can press this auto button, or you can press the reset chart button. I'll typically do either one or both, right? Here, I'll bring the chart back to where it's at, and this will give me a closer view, okay? Going down some more, your horizontal lines, that's typically what you'll draw to be able to locate key levels, to be able to point out key levels in the market where you see support and resistance, right? So I will favorite that one. Boom, you can change whatever color you want it to be, however you want to color code it. In the other previous lessons, or lessons that you probably haven't seen yet, when we get to color coding your support and resistance lines, it makes it a lot easier and a lot cleaner for you to look at your chart and know what levels you're trading to or what levels you're waiting to see price action react to or struggle with, right? So you want to be able to use a horizontal line to dictate that and quantify data that happened in the past. A horizontal line to stretch all the way to pretty much your whole chart into the future, wherever you decide to draw the line, right? There you go. See that? Support, resistance, support, resistance, support, resistance, right? You see all that. So next, you got your horizontal ray. So horizontal rays, typically wherever you start, like wherever your crosshair is, this is only drawing, like I use this tool to be able to draw where I potentially want my take profits to be, or short term like trading zones that I know I want to see, but I don't want the whole line to stretch across, because just looking at the crosshair, you can be able to see right here. If you just put your line right here, your crosshair right here, you can see just looking across this line where price played as resistance, right? Or where it played as support. So I don't need to draw that there. Just keeping a mental note that if I draw a line, let's just say here, I know that that's there because it probably played a factor in the past. So I don't need a whole bunch of long lines on my chart. I kind of just need to be able to get a feel for how I'm going to take advantage of the setup once price gets around this area, because I know this is a key area, right? So it's a couple ways. It just depends on what you like seeing. For when you first start off, you're going to end up using horizontal lines, right? You're going to have a whole bunch of lines on your chart to be able to help you understand and help your eyes recognize that price struggled at these levels, reacted at these levels. So as you're back testing, you can eliminate more lines and create shorter ones because you pretty much trained your muscle memory and your awareness to be able to recognize what you want to see at these levels, right? Here on this tab, this is typically where I don't really use pitchforks or anything like that. The main things I use out of here is Fibonacci retracements and trend fib extensions, right? Because we draw harmonics as well, which you'll learn in the future. Here on this drawing tool, you got your paintbrush. This is good for being able to simulate price if you want to be able to use. I don't typically use it. Maybe when I'm teaching some of my students, I draw on the chart every now and then, but more than likely I just use the Zoom toolbox to be able to draw up on there. Okay. Hold on just a second, guys. Give me 1 second. All right, I think I'm back. Am I back? All right, cool. Yeah, I'm back. Let's get it. So yeah, man. Sorry about that. I had to take a phone call real quick. Hey, man, we live here. Ain't no edits. It's all raw. It's uncut. We get into it, y'all. I'm teaching as I go. Work with me as we continue to grow and continue to build these videos. We'll get better, right? We'll get better. It's not easy. You know, there's no feedback on here. These videos are just live and direct, like I just said, man. So hopefully this is helping you guys out. But yeah, continuation to give you kind of a rundown on here. Yeah, you can use rectangles to be able to draw your zones out. I favorite those, right? Favorite those. Anytime you know that you're in a buy zone, let's just say your candles is blue, you know, go ahead and put your zone down here with the same color that you know, when you look at it, you know that's a buy zone, right? So when price gets down to this zone, you're looking to buy. If it's looking to sell and your sell candles are red, then go ahead and draw a red zone, right? You want to keep things as simple as possible, right? You know that you're probably going to look to sell up in this area. And Tradingview is pretty cool to be able to use. Very simple to be able to use, guys, right? Another thing you want to be able to use, let me see, is definitely the text. I use the text. I use call outs. Let me see. I do use price labels from time to time. The arrow ups, the arrows downs. Like, you know, these are good to be able to, you know, identify what you're looking at, where you expect to sell. You know, you kind of want to be able to just utilize things that's going to be able to help you see what's going on your charts by talking to yourself on these charts and understanding what color of what line means what based off of what time frame you drew it off of. Like, to give you a quick example, like for my daily support and resistance lines that I'm drawing on my daily chart, when I go down to 4 hour, I know that this chart is getting ready to look different because we have more details, right? You see how that looks different. We see prices making higher highs and higher lows in this little area, but overall we know that we pretty much been in a downtrend overall when you zoom out, but in current price action over the last pretty much few months is showing you that we've been in an uptrend. So yeah, we want to be able to recognize what's getting ready to happen here at these levels where price is currently at, and use these zones and use these lines as pretty much, I like to call them magnets. This is where price wants to gravitate to after it gravitated to it in the past. It wants to come back. And either it's going to break through or it's going to drop again. And trading is really that simple. Here's where you're able to draw your harmonic patterns. You get that. You get your cipher pattern, 3-line drive, Elliott wave. I don't really use Elliott wave. I understand Elliott wave a little bit, but I've been pretty successful without really understanding the concept or how to be able to teach it to you guys. So I only want to talk about pretty much the stuff that I use. But I do use the harmonic pattern to be able to draw those out. You know, this could be a harmonic pattern right here on gold. You might not be able to see it just yet, but we can just go ahead and draw it out now so you guys can see, right? See, they all kind of look something like this, right? This is what you guys see. Maybe on people's screens, maybe online where people are advertising it. This is kind of what it looks like, right? If you want to delete a lot of this stuff and you got a delete button on your computer, press delete to get rid of it, or press that trash can. This allows you to zoom in on certain, this magnifying glass allows you to zoom in on certain price action, right? We zoomed out. If we want to go back regular, easily just press this button and yep, Auto button is back on. If you want to zoom out, you can either press that, or we could just press that little minus button on the magnifying glass, and we go right back to where we were. If you want to be able to use multiple things, they got shortcuts in here that tell you as well. Like if you want to do a horizontal line, wherever you want to put a horizontal line, you just hold Alt and then H down without selecting it. You can do this multiple times, Alt H. So when you're drawing up support and resistance, you can do that way to be a little more efficient. But that's pretty much it, man, guys. Yeah. Obviously, you got your indicators up here. If you want to add indicators, the free version. We recommend that you go ahead and buy the pro version, but I went on ahead and set this free version up to be able to help you guys get a quick preview of how to utilize this platform. Your RSI, if you want to use that. It's a lot of great indicators in here, relatives, strength indicator. On a free version, I do mind you can only get up to 3 indicators to use for free. So, yeah, in other videos on here on this training, you'll be able to see that which ones that I use and how to swap them out. You probably never going to really use 2 of them at the same time unless you use a strategy based around maybe some EMAs crossing along with maybe one of your momentum or volume indicators showing here at the bottom. I pretty much just use raw price action. Let me see, market structure, fibs, but fibs is not an indicator. So you can use a lot of this stuff right here just from looking at the story on the charts. If you wanted to create a watch list, you can drag this over. Let me get me out the way. You can add any of these to your watch list, and you can color code these as well. You can delete what you want off your watch list, right? Delete, as you can see, I already kind of marked up on those. Yeah, you can go in here on your watch list, man. Typically, as you can see, I got a big watch list. That's because I trade my system and I can just look at what pairs I kind of want to be able to rock with. But in the training, listen to what I told you in those, because it's going to help you out a lot to be able to focus on just about maybe 2 or 3 pairs max. Master how that pair moves, get a feel for how the market moves during certain sessions. That way you can capitalize on the opportunities for those pairs within those time frames that fit your schedule, right? This is how you add to those. You can color code these as well for pairs that you feel like is going to be ready. You can color code and say red is something that you taking advantage of. Blue is something that you probably in profit on, right? You can decide what you want to do with this, but I don't really care too much for the watch list. I already know what pairs I want. If I want a quick hitter and I want to go to one of my charts that I'm looking at, instead of typing it up in here, I can go here, right? Obviously, from one of the other videos in the training as well, that on each time frame, if we're on a monthly time frame, each candle on this chart, and this is the advertisement I was talking about, but if you want to get rid of that advertisement and don't want to keep clicking through it, guys, just go ahead and get the pro version. It's $19 a month if you want to be able to use all of those, or you can get the $10 a month one. Either one. Just pick what works best for you and your budget. But you got to invest in yourself in order to, when you know that you have a skill that can help you make hundreds of thousands of dollars a day, that's just a drop in the bucket for you, right? But yeah, each candle on this chart is worth 1 month, right? Same thing when you go to a weekly. And another way to be able to get there is, M1. If you want to go to M1, or excuse me, you want to go to 1W, we go to time frame. We here. So let's go back. Each candle on here is worth 1 week. Right? We go to the daily. Each candle is worth 1 day. So each picture is telling a picture, right? That's what we care about. We want to be able to know what the bigger picture is when we're looking at the chart. So when we go to these lower time frames, preferably not lower than an hour, or lower than a 4 hour, to be able to do your analysis and structure, because that's what tells the strongest picture. when you actually getting into price action, you need to understand where you at these levels of support and resistance on these charts so you can be aware of a pullback happening, right? But the higher time frames won't necessarily show you that off top. You need to already kind of understand what has happened in order for you to understand what could happen in the future as price continues to move down on this pair. You know, it's a whole bunch of different things that can help you understand what price could potentially do. It's all probability. The last thing I'll say on this video, to make it a shorter video, I probably went too long on this video, but hey, I'm learning as I go. I appreciate you guys listening and growing with me. Yeah, every line that you draw on your chart has to have purpose. You have to know why it's there. You don't want to cloud your judgment with a whole bunch of different color lines. You know, just make your chart look real ugly. You know, so just set rules for yourself. Follow exactly what I'm showing you step by step. I just want to go over a brief value or a brief, valuable video to help break down a little bit of what Tradingview. There's more features. There's more things that you can do on here, but I keep it simple. I go ahead and make my lines that I use the most my favorites, right? If you want to be able to measure your pips, you got this ruler, right? Different pairs have different pip counts. Clearly, that's not 14,000, right? It's more so like 1,000 pips right there. But gold is counted differently per pip. You got your short and your long tool, right? So if you plan on going long, this is how you're able to calculate your risk to reward ratio. And where I get this tool from is I get it from over here, right? Click the drop down short position. If you plan on calculating a long position where you should put your stop, then you will use this tool. If you want to do a short position, you use this one, right? If you want to do date and price range is pretty much just showing you a range of price. If you use this tool and you drag it across, it'll show you the dates. If you drag this up, it'll show you the price. All right, pretty simple. All right, guys. Other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Make your charts real clean, guys. If you want to have a gray background, use somewhat darker color candles just so it's a little easier on your eyes. If you're using a dark chart, typically use, somewhat of, you can use lighter or darker colors. It's just whatever makes you feel good when you look at it, and it's easier for you to recognize the wicks and the clues. If it's too hard for you to be able to see what price action is doing on your chart, then you need to make some adjustments so it's a lot clearer to you. Okay. All right. That's pretty much all I got for y'all. Thanks for listening, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.